Hello everybody, welcome in the Encyclopedia channel. I hope you will enjoy this video. Before we go on details about the concept of freedom in Spinoza's perspective, let's take a look on the important states of his own life. Baruch Spinoza was born in Amsterdam on November 24, 1632. He was raised in a Jewish community, but he was influenced at a young age by a wide range of philosophical traditions, including the works of Descartes. The development of his own ideas would be a source of controversy within the community and would lead to his excommunications by the Amsterdam synagogue in 1656. At some point, a fanatic person tried to assassinate him. Gilles Deleuze said about this accident, "While it sometimes happens that a philosopher ends up on a trail, rarely does a philosopher begin with an excommunication and an attempt on his life." Spinoza learned to grind lenses for optical insertions, which became his primary income sources. He lived with few things and his only luxury was books. He even rejected donations from his wealthy friends. Spinoza presents a thought-provoking concept of freedom that challenges our intuitions. According to him, while God alone possesses absolute freedom in metaphysical terms, human beings are only relatively free. He suggests that true freedom is attained by discovering the inevitability of events and our positions within the larger causal narrative of nature. By embracing this perspective, he contends that we can gain control over our own emotions. The definition of freedom in the first part of the Ethics is intriguing. Spinoza writes that thing is called free, which exists solely by the necessity of its own nature, and of which the actions is determined by itself alone. This definition is already at odds with our common and intuitive characterization of freedom. For example, one can define freedom as the power to do something without being stopped or the status of not being imprisoned or enslaved. In contrast, freedom for Spinoza has to do with being self-determined. This is the sole causes of one's actions and existence. If this is true, then God is the only entity that can be free. The philosopher Matthew Kistner calls this absolute freedom. Although human beings can never attain absolute freedom, they can aim at relative freedom or degrees of freedom. Spinoza thinks that reasoning can help to increase one's relative freedom and understand the lines of causality and the way modes are related and affect each other. This can contribute to grasping what influences us and the external forces continuously shaping us. Having clarity about those causal connections means having adequate ideas about reality. In this, Spinoza is similar to the Stoics. He is convinced that accepting necessity is the path to freedom and virtue. It is hard for us in the 21st century to imagine how determination and freedom can coexist. There is another definition of freedom in Spinoza's perspective: mystery of emotions. Well, through knowledge and reason, we can understand our passions. When we understand our passions, we stop being enslaved by them. Because people with an addiction, for an instant, are not free. Their addictions generates emotions and actions that oppose reason. As a rationalist, Spinoza believed in the mystery of emotions through rational understanding. By gaining insights into our emotions, causes, and mechanism, we can grasp why emotions emerge and influence our actions. There is something therapeutic about these notions of freedom. It is related to self-awareness. In the case of an addiction, it could help to recognize what are the sources of that addiction. For example, a lack of meaning, a sensation of loneliness, and the psychological diminution related to abstinence. Furthermore, one could start to recognize what are the triggers that lead to that behavior. In sum, through reason, one can form adequate ideas about the external causal forces that leads us to a reduction of our kinesis, our power, and ultimately to a sad life. In opposition, freedom commands the way of for a joy life. The absence of freedom is bondage. Spinoza writes, when a man is prey to his emotions, he is not his own master, but lies at the mercy of fortune. Thank you for watching and see you in another video.